guys, welcome back to my channel. And things that could have saved my marriage part 2. Actually, that's not true. This is more like things that I wish I knew before getting married. And I think if I knew most of these things, I would not have gotten married at all, or at least not to the person I ended up marrying. So the third point, yes, I think we were at point number 3, is I wish I knew and loved myself. This is a huge one. And you know, as someone who has a background of abuse and emotional neglect, I really entered, like, you know, the dating world like looking for someone to love me. You know, I was like an empty cup, you know, a cup with a hole like at the bottom, and no matter how much you poured in, obviously all the water will be back on the floor. And I really entered like the dating world looking, seeking for that love. Finally, you know, I was like signaling red, like love me, love me, love me, love me, right? And my ex-husband had what I believe was abandonment issues, so like we matched that, we trauma bonded like crazy. You know, like we were so like dependent, so codependent on each other instead of being interdependent. So you know, we would spend hours upon hours upon hours upon hours on the phone all day. I mean, we would sleep like with on video calls with the camera on. I mean, how healthy is that? And you obviously, like, it was just crazy, you guys. I don't wish that on anybody. Don't do that. And you know what I got out of that is that you really can't, you know, go out there and look for somebody to love you instead of yourself. You know, nobody can replace that foundation of self-love. You know, it just doesn't work like that. You know, I mean, I think that some of it also for other people, you know, like I said, my own thing had a lot to do with neglect, but I think that in addition to that, women generally are socialized to, you know, to Disney movies. Think of, you know, like Cinderella and Pocahontas, which is my personal favorite. Ever since we are children, we are taught that, you know, somebody else is going to complete us, somebody else, a man generally, or becoming a mother, having a family, is going to make us happy. So I think a lot of women, or I know that a lot of women, go out in the world, you know, really looking for that, seeking that person who's going to make them happy. And I think that it's very, very dangerous. I think that it is toxic because, you know, I don't know that it is healthy to give someone else that much power over yourself, you know, because most likely if they have the ability to make you happy, they also have the ability to make you miserable, you know. So I really want to warn, you know, young women who are watching this, you know, be very mindful, because like I say, giving somebody else that much power over yourself is not generally, you know, very healthy. And you know, it's just not right to expect that much from someone else. I don't think that is a fair expectation to have off of someone, that they should make you happy. I think that that's a very heavy burden to carry, to put that on someone, you know. I do think that, you know, in healthy relationship we can be happier. I have certainly experienced that, you know. After my marriage, I've been in a relationship where I was, you know, genuinely happier with this person. But some days, sometimes, but generally, I don't think that, you know, you should await a relationship to be happy. You know, happiness is an inside job, and you should find that within yourself first, and then seek to be then happier or more fulfilled with someone else, you know, through joint purpose and compatibility, etc., etc., right? Another thing that I wish I understood is how much forgiving long-term relationship require. I think that for me, I understand this most through the lens of my relationship with my best friend Agnes, with who I've been friends for almost a decade now. And I understand the importance of forgiving in a long-term relationship, because I think that a lot of us sometimes tend to lack or lose the little bit side that we are dealing with another human being, you know. And human beings are not perfect. I mean, you're not perfect, I'm not perfect, so most likely, you know, your boyfriend, husband, friends are also not going to be perfect. So long-term relationships are going to require a lot of forgiving. Now, I'm not talking about people who hurt you on purpose, okay? Now, if somebody is, you know, have a pattern of, you know, really hitting where it hurts and, you know, hitting below the belt and stuff like that, you know, that relationship is toxic and you should exit. But I'm talking about, you know, just human stuff. Maybe something you told someone, maybe you told, you know, your husband, oh, I don't like it, you know, when you don't close the window, or when you leave the toilet seat open and they do it again. I don't think that these things are meant to hurt you. I think that, you know, people are just wired the way that they're wired and they just forgot or something. So I think that, you know, understanding that a lot of forgiveness, usually when you ask people who've been married for a very long time, they used to talk about, you know, forgiving quickly, like genuinely forgiving too, because a lot of people pretend they forgive, and then what they would do is later on in, you know, later arguments, bring back the stuff. Yeah, you did this and you did that and da 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 da. That's not forgiving, you know. Like when you forgive, you have to let it go. You know, you can't bring it up every single time, because that will, you know, build resentment, and really you are also already resentful if you bring it up every single time. It means you didn't really forgive. And this is why it's also important to communicate when things are not working, when something happened that you don't like. I find that a lot of people tend to not speak. A lot of women especially tend to be extremely passive aggressive. Come on now, the church, I used to be the queen of this. Ladies, don't let me stand here by myself. Raise your hand, okay? Like, oh child, I used to be so passive aggressive. I will make a video about how I got over that, you know. So you kind of like swallow a lot, you know. You're like, I didn't really like that, but I'm gonna let it go. And you do that, you know, a couple of times, and then you become really resentful. So, you know, if you are gonna forgive, make sure you genuinely forgive. You forgive honestly and don't bring it back up. As well as, you know, understanding that, I think Bob Marley is the one who said it, you know, everybody's gonna hurt you. You just gotta find the people worth like suffering for. I think that there's a lot of truth in that, you know. Expecting that a human being is never gonna do or say something that's gonna be upsetting or hurtful to you is a very unrealistic expectation to have going into a relationship with humans in general. I also find that women are not very good at clear communication. Again, raise your hand if you've been guilty of this. Like, I was so guilty of wanting my ex-husband to read my mind, or this was a big one, you know. So I would like leave clues of, oh, I really like these shoes and I really like this bag. And obviously, you know, in an ideal world, you know, and we would love for our partners to be able to pick up on those clues and get off those stuff. But, you know, sometimes they're not really listening, or they don't really understand that you're saying you want this. I mean, this is a different person with a different upbringing, a different set of trauma. They may not understand what you're talking about. I mean, sometimes they get you and they ignore you too. That needs to be said. But generally, I really think that a lot of men just are not. Or people in general, you know, maybe they're cooking, maybe they're reading, they're like half listening to you. So be clear, you know, if you want a certain perfume or a certain pair of shoes or a certain purse for your birthday or your anniversary or whatever, you know, ask your husband, baby, our anniversary is coming up, you know, I would love it if you get me this or that or the third. And, you know, you can get a clear answer too. You know, you don't build that fake excitement, you know, your birthday coming up and you've been dropping hints about wanting these shoes for like 6 months and you're really excited and you're really thinking, you know, your husband is going to get it for you or your boyfriend, whatever, and they don't, and you get like really disappointed and really sad when really you broke your own heart. You know, had you been clear, hun, are you going to get me this perfume? Then, you know, they would tell you yes, or oh babes, this perfume is a little bit outside of my, you know, budget range right now. So make sure you're clear in your communication and you don't expect them to read your mind, because really human beings are not mind readers, and that's just not a fair expectation to have going in a relationship. It's a little bit of an immature, you know, expectation to have going in a relationship. I'd say be truthful as well, above all else. Now, we do tell half lies. I know, for example, that when I entered, I was already a mom, like when I got married. My daughter was like 5 at the time, and at the time already I knew that I wasn't sure about motherhood. I knew that I wasn't sure I wanted a second child, you know, and that's something that I never like communicated clearly to my ex-husband. You know, like I was like, you know, I never really said that at least I was having thoughts about maybe not wanting to be a mother again, which of course, you know, became more and more clear to me that I never want to have a second baby, another child, and that did end up, you know, becoming a problem in the relationship. And, you know, I wish I had been more truthful about that. So don't be afraid that, you know, if you don't want something, tell them. And yes, the person may walk away, you know, that's a reality. If you tell a man that really desire children and really want to be a dad, that you don't want to be a mother, you know, then, but that the truth is, if they really desire to be a dad and you really, you know, don't want to be anybody's mom, you want to be child free, then that goes back to my very first point. You guys are not compatible. Like, why do you want to make it work by fire by force? No matter how much you like this guy, no matter what a great personality he have, how funny he may be, how rich he may be, how much money he may have, he's not your guy. He's not your person if he wants above all else to be somebody's dad and you don't want to be anybody's mom. So, you know, this is me taking accountability. I should have been more honest, you know, about that, you know, not lying per se, but saying half truth. I was at the time, today I'm clear about the fact that you couldn't pay me to have a second baby, but at the time I was more on the fence about it. But I should have said that I was on the fence because, you know, he wasn't. He desired, he wanted children, he wanted to be a father. That was something he was very clear about, and you know, so I should have been more honest. So make sure you don't lie, you don't tell like half truth and stuff like that. You don't hide things, even, you know, lying by omission. Be careful about what you know. I don't think we owe people, you know, the truth about our past and everything, but I think that stuff that may eventually come up in the relationship or marriage and stuff, this is stuff that, you know, we need to be careful about, you know, not lying but being untruthful. Are they not the same manera? You know, lying by omission is what I mean, right? Anyways, you guys, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. These are really the things that I wish, you know, I did differently or knew about back in the days when I was 26 maybe, so almost a decade ago. If you enjoyed this video, do not forget to give it a thumbs up. I certainly hope that it was helpful for you. In the comment section down below, let me know, you know, what are the things that you wish you knew before getting into dating. And yeah, do not forget to subscribe to my channel as well, and I will talk to you guys on Sunday 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bye guys.